Barcelona versus PSG in the Champions League wasn't just another big-name clash. This was a battle of systems. Barcelona with their high line, high press, and very wide attacking shape, against PSG's pace, power, and ability to counter at speed. From the first whistle, you could see it. Barcelona wanted to dominate the ball, to suffocate PSG with pressure and stretch the field to its limits. PSG, on the other hand, were waiting for the smallest crack to break free. In this video, we'll break down exactly how Barcelona set up, why their ideas worked in moments, and why their high line eventually became the gamble that cost them the game. Barcelona's setup told the story before the ball was even kicked. They lined up with a very aggressive defensive line, almost on the halfway mark to keep PSG pinned back. The midfield trio played high and tight, ready to support the press, while the fullbacks pushed up to keep the width. But in possession, it shifted. Barcelona didn't want to be narrow. They went extremely wide, with wingers stretching the pitch, pulling PSG's backline apart, and leaving those little gaps for midfield runners to burst into. So what you had was a system that looked compact and disciplined without the ball, yet completely fluid and expansive when attacking, high line, high press, and maximum width. It was bold, it was brave, but against a team like PSG, it was also walking a fine line between control and chaos. PSG approached the game with a very different mindset. They didn't need to dominate possession, they needed to control the moments. Their setup was about disciplined, compact lines and springing forward with pace. Out of possession, PSG pressed high in spells, especially when Barcelona tried to play short from the back. The front line pushed onto Barcelona's defenders, forcing them into risky passes. But when the press wasn't on, PSG dropped into a more organised block, letting Barca have the ball, but keeping the middle crowded. In possession, PSG's plan was simple but devastating. Absorb pressure, then break quickly. The midfield looked to release their runners wide into the space Barcelona's high line kept leaving behind. It wasn't about having more touches of the ball, it was about making every turnover count. So while Barcelona stretched the field and looked for control, PSG stayed compact, efficient and lethal in transition. Every time Barcelona lost the ball in midfield, PSG immediately looked forward. One pass, two passes, and suddenly Barcola or Mbaye were running into acres of space. The game became a cycle, Barcelona pressing and stretching the pitch, PSG sitting compact and waiting to pounce on the counter. They wanted to dominate PSG with the ball, but every time they lost it, the structure was too fragile. The midfield pressed high, the fullbacks pushed forward, and suddenly there was no safety net. PSG didn't even need to build slow attacks. One direct ball into space and Barcelona's entire shape was exposed. So Barcelona lost the balance between control and security. They were compact without the ball, they were fluid with it, but they couldn't find that middle ground, the ability to attack without leaving themselves wide open. And against PSG's pace, that imbalance was fatal. PSG didn't try to fight Barcelona with the same weapons. They didn't need long spells of possession, they didn't need to open the pitch wide. What they needed was control of the key moments, and they got it. First, the pressing. PSG weren't reckless. They picked their moments to press high, especially when Barcelona tried to play out from the back. That forced mistakes, rushed passes, and gave PSG quick turnovers in dangerous areas. Second, their compact shape. Even when Barcelona stretched the field, PSG stayed tight through the middle. The midfield shielded the backline, denying easy passes into central zones. That discipline meant Barcelona had to work much harder to create chances, and most importantly, PSG maximised transitions. Every time Barcelona lost the ball, PSG exploded forward. Mbaye, Barcola, the wide runners, they attacked the space behind the high line again and again. It wasn't about quantity of attacks, it was about quality. The moments they did get, they turned into real chances. So while Barcelona controlled the ball, PSG controlled the flow of danger. And that difference was decisive. In the end, this game was a story of risk versus reward. Barcelona wanted to dictate everything, with their high line, their pressing, and their wide attacking structure. It gave them moments of control, flashes of dominance, and some clear chances. But the same ideas that gave them strength also left them exposed. PSG didn't try to match that. They played the long game, disciplined, compact, and explosive in transition. They knew Barcelona's bravery could be turned into a weakness, and they punished it whenever the opportunity came. So, while Barcelona controlled the possession, PSG controlled the space. And in knockout football, it's not the team with the most of the ball that usually wins. It's the team that manages the risk better. On the night, that was PSG.